There's this unspoken struggle that can often be left to chance. It centers around the complex relationship between how we parent and how we were parented. Sometimes unaware, sometimes unaddressed, it can spill over into our relationships in unhealthy, toxic ways. I have found that there is a resolve, and it starts from within. At the end of the day, it comes down to making a decision, and here's what I chose. Shine, I'm gonna let it shine. I'm gonna let it shine. I'm gonna let it shine. I'm gonna let it. Hey YouTube family, I thank you guys for tuning in. My littles are on a bit of a homeschool break. If you're new to the channel, I'm Dr. Z. I share resources, strategies, tips, and tools with the home mom, work mom, and mom to be based on 10 plus years of teaching, as well as now homeschooling. And today I really wanted to take a pause from a bit of homeschooling and share with you guys a topic that is really near and dear to me. I've had the experience of having a small part of my childhood with two parents in the home, and then to go from that to transitioning to a one-parent home and be raised in a single mom household. There are memories that I've had in my childhood that were not always high, that were not always lovely, that created some dissension and some hurt and some pain. But I'm just of the mindset that if I want my children to live in a home full of freedom and a place of being clear and transparent and know that they are loved, that I have to let go of those things that caused me to feel like I was not, and instead to embrace the freedom that I have in being able to start anew. I thought it'd be good to have this conversation and share with you at least 5 of the ways that we intentionally parent. So number 1 is that we have family meetings, and this could be more titled a family check-in. This is something that came out of the household that I grew up in, where my mom made it a mission to get us to keep talking and to communicating, because she was a single mom and could not always be there to check in to find out what was going on with us. She would use this meeting time to really get to understanding where we were, how things were going. It was usually centered around dinner. The TV was off, there was no electronics, and it was just a time of sharing. And I have done this with my children because it really allows us just to communicate in ways that allow them to say what's on their mind without feeling like it's coming from this structured place of, how was your day? What did you learn? But it's more informal and more of a way of us just really talking. And you'd be surprised how many things come out in those conversations. Some things that are humorous, some things that are just talking points for later for me to go back to and to be able to address with my children. But it's a great way for us to keep communication open and to share with one another where we are. Number 2 for how we set the tone for parenting on purpose in our home is through prayer. I can remember growing up, my mother would always pray with us, and that is something that is carried over into our home. My children know what it looks like to see my husband pray over me, to pray for me. They know what it is to see me pray in my intimate closet. They pray for each other. I found prayer to really open us up to understanding how God operates, how He works, how He uses us. He uses my children in such miraculous ways to speak to me. And that channel of prayer really is an integral part of that. Number 3 is we have established a guilt-free zone. I can remember at times growing up and how much shame can overtake you and not being able to be honest about where you are. We are a family that when we do something, we make it a point to address it early, to not let it seep over and spill over into our emotions, to spill over into the way we live our lives and the decisions that we make. My husband and I make it a point to repent in front of our children, to ask our children for forgiveness when we have erred in some way. We don't hold ourselves hostage when we have screamed or done something out of line. We don't want them to hold themselves hostage when they have made a mistake, the glass hits the floor and breaks, or there's something that they have done even deliberately but didn't recognize the consequences of it. We make it a point to go back and get things well. It may take time to process through everybody chilling out and having quiet time, but we don't want it to spill over into days and weeks and months of us not addressing it. I find that that's very important because I've seen my children come and be honest about the things that have happened or that are going on internally with them. My daughter has waken up in the middle of the night and said, "Mom, I want to share something with you." And so again, again, it goes back to leaving the lines of communication open and not allowing the spirit of shame and guilt and judgment to harbor itself in houses, in closets, and in spaces where we are left to deal with our own thoughts and not address it openly. Number 4, for how we set the tone in our home, is that we allow laughter to permeate much of what we do. Through laughter and through enjoying each other, it just keeps the environment from being rigid, intense, and stressful, so that when those stressful times do come, sometimes when you want to cry, you can laugh about it because there's some joke or something that you call upon that helped you get through those moments, from something that someone said, memories that I have of my children's laughter, of stories that we've shared, of corny jokes, because I am not a joker, so I come up with these corny jokes. But just making sure that even when things may be tense, when it's stressful, that we keep laughter and love at the forefront. And that tends to maintain peace in our home, so that even when someone's a little out of whack and it seems like we want to go off, a joke can come in and just kind of lighten the mood and get everybody back on track to see that it's really not that deep. And even if it is, we can work through it. The 5th and final way that we set the tone in our home and parent on purpose is through structure. Children need boundaries, not for the sake of having restrictions, but for the sake of understanding how it is that we are to be safe, how it is that we can make sure that we respect each other's space. While I don't want it to be tense and stressful, I do believe that there is a place for making sure that there is structure, that there is organized chaos, as I call it. When we're eating, there's a place and a time for what we're going to do in that. When we're family bonding, there's a place and a time for that. When we're in homeschool, there's a structure and a space for that. And then there are times when it just has to be chill, and that becomes the structure, and that's okay. But it helps to have parameters, and then when you need to lift something, let something go, see that something's not working, you have a base or a foundation for which you can do that. We're all a work in progress, and I hope to encourage any mom out there that may have had something from their past that is trying to cause them to be bound in the way that they parent, that you can make the decision to be free from that you can choose. Sometimes it may require that you have to process where you are with that yourself. It may require therapy. It definitely will require much prayer and much time spent really working on it. But the ultimate work and decision is yours, that you do not have to be crippled by what you went through. If that was anything that may have been contrary to the way that God has allotted for our lives, that you can be free of that. I believe who the Son has set free is indeed free, and I believe that we are beginning anew and we are making a clean slate, and our family has chosen to embrace that. And some of the ways that I share with you is how we do that. I hope this has brought encouragement to someone, and I hope if you have any questions, you would feel free to ask them in the comments below and share with us what is some way that you set the tone for parenting on purpose in your home, because it is truly a gift to be able to parent. Be blessed and have a great day.
I want to show you something.